Shopping for groceries can feel like such a chore, traipsing up and down the aisles, trying to remember all the things that you need. And it can feel expensive too, especially right now with food prices going through the roof. But, dear viewer, it doesn't have to feel that way. You can take the hassle out of your grocery shopping and stick to a budget. And I'm going to tell you how, plus share a simple 3-step plan to get you there in just a moment. Stay tuned. Looking back at my grocery habits over the years, I realise I've made a few mistakes. For example, I've been shopping on an empty stomach more than once, and I made it home with enough snacks to host a reasonably large party, but very little that I could use to make a decent meal with for, I don't know, let's say the next week. Stuff like this has cost me money over the years, but nothing compares to the one game changer that has transformed my grocery shopping. Are you ready for it? Okay, folks, here goes. Planning. Yes, I plan my groceries. My wife plans. We plan together. It's all thought through. Now I realise that for some of you watching this, the very notion will be absurd. You might think, that's a waste of time, David. There are better things to do in life than sit around and write shopping lists. And if that is your point of view today, then I wish you well. This video probably isn't the one for you just now. But for everyone else, you've probably noticed your grocery bill is creeping up. Food prices are skyrocketing all around the world. You might be asking, how can I do my weekly shop better and save myself money? I've worked in the food industry for more than 20 years. I've learned a lot in that time, and I want to share it with you to help you stick to a budget and feed your family for less. So let's get stuck into why planning is such a game changer and how you can become a pro grocery shopper by incorporating some simple planning ideas into your weekly routine. Let's start off by explaining exactly what I mean by planning. Planning is simply the process of consciously deciding what you're going to eat, what you need in order to make that stuff, and how much you want to spend on it. It's all about taking away uncertainty, removing temptation, and feeling in control of what you spend. Ultimately, it's about sticking to that budget. 1 in 3 households in Australia wasn't sure it could put food on the table last year. And even if you're not one of them, a little bit of planning will go a long way for your household budget. Remember, food is typically one of your biggest annual household outgoings. Having a plan is the gateway to doing a better job when you do your food shopping and making your money go further at the checkout. So, what are the signs you could do with some better grocery planning habits? Well, there are 3 common things you might notice in your behaviour that are signalling you could benefit from making some changes. Firstly, you're eating out or ordering takeaways more often than you want to. I love a good takeaway curry, and we do still have one in our house every couple of weeks, but we used to be getting a delivery a couple of times a week, and we were hemorrhaging money that way. Now, the underlying reason that we did that, apart from being a bit lazy, was that we didn't have the right ingredients on hand for quick and easy midweek meals. And on top of that, we weren't keeping any frozen portions of things that we'd batch cooked earlier. Second sign you might need to change your habits is if you're constantly going to the grocery store. And again, this was something my wife and I used to do a lot. And I mean a lot, like every couple of days or so. Obviously, that's totally inefficient in terms of the time that's involved, and it's inefficient in terms of cost if you keep on just topping up a few things each time you go. Which leads me to sign number 3. Your grocery spend is simply way higher than you want it to be. If you're not doing much meal planning, the chances are you're either doing takeaways or buying more convenience foods like filled pasta, ready-made sauces. All perfectly decent products, nothing wrong with them at all, but not the most economical way to shop. And if you're not thinking about meal ingredients when you have leftovers, you're more likely to bin them than repurpose them with a few things you've got on hand in the fridge or the cupboard. So all in all, spending much more than you need. So let me know in the comments if any of these sound familiar to you, or if there are any other signs you've noticed that told you you needed to make some changes. Okay, so there are essentially 3 things you're going to need to get right to level up your shopping with planning. 1 is going to be your meal plan, 2 is going to be your shopping list, and 3 is going to be your budget, the dollars and cents you want to spend each week. Now, the meal plan might sound a bit daunting to begin with, especially if you don't feel that comfortable or creative in the kitchen. But there are so many sites and apps you can turn to for a hand with this. I've linked just 3 that we've tried in the description down below so that you can try them out and see if any of them work for you. Now, of course, you can go old school as well. You can just grab a pen and a pad and map out your week. Whichever way you go, a few tips to get you started. Think about what you and your family actually like to eat. Think then about meals that don't require that many ingredients, just to keep it easy for yourself while you build up your meal repertoire. And then, of course, think about balance in terms of nutrition and variety to keep things interesting. Lay out the week, and then you're ready for step number 2. Now, I know that using a list saves us money. I've tracked our spend before and after using one. But it turns out a couple of guys called Thomas and Garland did some research in New Zealand in the 90s on this subject as well. And their work found conclusively that writing a list significantly reduced the average grocery store spend. So don't just take it from me, take it from Thomas and Garland as well. This stuff works. Now, lots of things you can do to make this easier, and I've talked about the app that we use in our house called AnyList in a previous video. Lets us create a favorites list so that we can quickly add the regular items to our list each week. It lets us organize our list according to how products are actually laid out in our usual grocery store. Again, just to make things a touch quicker when we're actually in store. If you want to know more about list apps, check out my video, 5 grocery mistakes that are costing you money. But the bottom line is, take your meal plan, convert it into ingredients, and have that in your hand when you then go into the store. Do that, and you are well on your way to more cash in your pocket at the end of the month, which is what this is all about, right? Last but not least, though, you're going to need to have an idea of what your food budget actually is from now on. That is going to be influenced by a huge number of factors. Things like, obviously, the size of your household, the ages of those who make up your family, the meals you've selected for your weekly plan, how many treats and conveniences you're going to allow yourself each week. Not forgetting, of course, what your overall household financial goals actually are. But you have to know what this number is. So find yourself a reliable reference point to begin with. As an example, Australians spend on average around 10% of their weekly income on groceries. So work out what this equates to for your income, where you live, and then you can adjust up or down depending on your circumstances. Another reference here in Australia comes from Canstar Blue, who have a table on their website showing average weekly grocery spend by household size. I've linked that in the description as well. Now, this suggests that a family of 4 spends just over $200 per week on average on their groceries. Now, something that is really important in all of this is to be realistic. Whatever number you set yourself, don't beat yourself up if you don't hit it to the penny, to the cent every week. Track it definitely and keep it front of mind, because what you'll see week after week is you're getting much better at judging what's in your trolley and staying closer to that budget of yours. Now, as I said, don't stress yourself about all of this. Don't expect to go from 0 to hero overnight. It takes time to break habits, and of course, it takes time to build new ones too. So keep the pressure off yourself and instead reassure yourself each week that everything you're doing, every little bit of progress you take towards planning your shop is getting you closer to your goal. And that is, of course, managing your food spend better so you've got more money in your pocket at the end of the month for you and for your family. Start your planning journey today, folks, and give us a thumbs up and a comment if this is giving you some inspiration to make those changes in your life, or if you're just struggling with planning your groceries and you want some help. In the next video, I'll look at unit pricing in more detail and how you can use it to manage your food budget better. So hit subscribe and let's go pro with your grocery shop.